What's good, family? It's the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com with another full moon video. This video would be for May 18th, 2019, a full moon in the constellation of Vedic Scorpio. Is actually in sidereal Libra. So in Western astrology, I don't necessarily know what it's going to be, and I didn't even check. So, but for my Vedic kids, for my people that, thank you, Brenda, appreciate that. For my Vedic heads, and the people who follow Vedic astrology, we're going to continue the tradition. The last time we spoke astrologically, we were speaking in the realms of relationships, and I kind of did like a little soft poll on my Facebook page, and was like, did this full moon, did you have the idea centered around relationships or possessions? Because I heard a lot of people talking about new moon in Taurus and things of that nature. So I just asked, what was the center of the conversation? And a lot of people said relationships. So that's that. So as we discuss and continue on the tradition of Vedic astrology and sidereal astrology combined, we just want to simply look at things as they are. And where this full moon is centered at is in the 2nd and 8th house, which is actually the roles are flipped, right? So the sun is in sidereal Taurus and the moon is in sidereal Scorpio. So Taurus is the 2nd house and Scorpio is the 8th house. Well, astrologically, they're flipped. So the sun is in the 8th house and the moon is in the 2nd house. So therefore, you have a balancing or a realization, or in simpler terms, it's like wife swap. You get a chance to see what somebody else's wife is like, and maybe esoterically, spiritually, in seeing a better relationship or a more compatible union in something else. It could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be, a household, or some type of structure or a way a person's business is. You see a better way, and I guess the first step to that is like, oh shit, the way that I'm doing it is shitty. And so that naturally, emotionally, should, if you're not like an android alien bot, you're gonna feel negatively about what you've been doing up to this point, if transformation and alchemy is truly at hand. So there was a question in the chat by Astro, like, how the family, like, I hope the family is doing well. It's like, yeah, we are. But that transformation and that pivot is very one would say traumatic, or that realization is traumatic. So actually discussing astrology, I guess I have to live it and experience it too, or else I couldn't be speaking about astrology and negative emotions and the things that I'm going to be talking about today if I've never experienced it, or else I would just be quoting books. And so my astrological experience is not that, it's scholastic, as you would see. I provide a lot of scholarly work to the things that I say. That's necessary. More than the average, I think. But then at another level, I'm actually experiencing it too. Like, I'm feeling this. I'm getting all of the feels of what I'm speaking. So it's not for the faint of heart. Another disclaimer, my page is specifically for 18 years and up. 16 and up if you had a harsh life, if you've been through juvie or something like that. But I don't speak to children. I don't talk to my children this way. When I talk to my children, it is very on their level. They talk to me on their level. When I get on YouTube, I'm talking to myself, and I'm an adult, and I've been through things. I curse. I can't self-reflect an image to you guys that's not authentic, and I do this intentively too, because I want you to dislike me or like me for me. I don't want you to have a particular fantasy of a well-spoken, well-mannered, perfect life Negro. This is real alchemy. And so that's the overall context of the conversation today. I have an article that's in the description that you could reference. I don't necessarily think that my talk is going to be put. I purposely set up this video to not be like the article. So I would encourage you to read the article to possibly get different feels and different vibrations. My proofreader, my wife, gave it the thumbs up. I say, don't say if it's good or bad. Say that you understood it and that it was helpful, and she gave me 2 thumbs up. So would encourage everybody to click the link in the description, check out the article. Reading is fundamental. Okay, so astrologically, we're looking at a sun and moon opposition. Like I said earlier, we're talking about a 2nd house and 8th house opposition paired with a Uranus and Venus conjunction in the 7th house, right? The Aries house. Literally the same place that we had the new moon, we also then have a Venus and Uranus conjunction at the time of the full moon. So we've been really speaking to Venus. We have the Venus Explained video that we did a couple of weeks ago, and really understanding illumination. Like, we understand the sun's version of the illumination is physical light. There's another illumination called knowledge, understanding, wisdom, psychic abilities, gifts, understanding ourselves in various lifetimes and bringing those lifetimes into this present day and walking with that power. We spoke to the energy of Sekhmet, the energy of illumination, the energy of knowing. I wouldn't be the type of person to just, speak on something, then let it go. Because I guess even if I spoke on something, got the revelation, it's not the end of the story. It's like opening the first page of a book, Oh, this is brilliant. This is this is what I need to hear. Okay, but the follow through is, okay, now that you see, now that you know, that shit will rock you to your socks. And I'm really trying to figure out, where did I see this at? Where did I first, why can I understand this? And as I'm writing the article and going through my notes and preparing the video, and right till I get to the slide, the quote came from me. Now, this isn't taken from the Bible, so don't let the word Jesus throw you off if you're anti-Christian or anti-religion. This is taken from the Nag Hammadi Library. If you never heard of the Nag Hammadi Library, you might want to take a peek into it if you're interested in the holes in the New Testament. Long story short, this is taken from the Gospel of Thomas, and verse 2 says, "Those who seek should not stop seeking until they find. When they find, they will be disturbed. this is the moment that we're talking about. This is the exact moment when the full moon, so if you want a real context and a real like epistemology of like Bible prophecy and illumination and coming into your total God self and not taking this shit slight. This is really the time to fully understand it, and throughout this video I'm gonna kind of explain what exactly taking place. Now, disclaimer. If your personal life and your personal success and the things that you're personally trying to will into existence for yourself is priority number one, your intentions and the things that you want and things that you wish to accomplish, travel, business, etc., etc. Mind you, we all have that. But does that totally inundate your life and experience, mind, body, and soul? Or is there a particular portion of your life that is dead set focus into the mythology and the Vedic side of you? Now, Vedic being your past lifetimes and who you are esoterically and who you are mythologically, who you are as a god. So if we've been taking these steps and we've been really focusing in on really seeing ourselves, doing shadow work, really clearing the way, right? Really clearing the way. Maybe something clicks for us, right? Maybe something happens and it clicks, and now once it clicks, the things that don't click, unless you're an android, are gonna disturb you. And the full moon in Scorpio is that point of disturbance. So we're talking about negative emotions, we're talking about negative vibrations and things that have a particular negative spin, but we're not talking about it in the same way that we normally talk about it, because we're realizing something about it. We're really learning. We're really applying wisdom. It's really interesting now, because when we have an issue, when we have a problem, when we have an anxiety, when we have a fear, we know what to do about it. And then the things that we need to let go, we know exactly why we need to let go, because we've actually been illuminating ourselves to truth. And so, of course, it hurts, but it shouldn't hurt that bad. Because what is the goal? Is the goal growth? Is the goal truth? Personally? Or is the goal using people, being around people you don't really like, but their energy, you're vamping. They have money, they have particular access that you personally don't have. Riding particular waves and things like that. Trying to get to a place of personal satisfaction that's always seeming to elude you. Mainly because it really doesn't necessarily exist within a particular time and space forever. Maybe it exists in moments in time, but the never having of exactly what you want and the actual pursuit of that is now being questioned. And once you question it, you are to be disturbed. And when you are disturbed, you will marvel and will reign over all, because you're not emotionally attached to shit that people think that you are. You really are who you are. You gotta really understand this, and let's really try to kind of show it in the multiple different ways that is showing up astrologically. So the moon falls under the nakshatra of... Oh, my pronunciation game is really bad. Anuradha. Anuradha, which is a composite word of Anu and Radha, which is two deities, right? So let me move my big head out the way so you can see the picture in full detail. I'm really doing the most now. Okay. I just really need y'all to see something in this picture, so give me 1 second. Sorry for the delay. Here we go. So boom. This is what I want y'all to see. I want y'all to see Lil Bruh. It is worth it. All the things that I went through to get to this picture, it was worth it. Because now we get to see Lil Bruh. And then we get to see Big Sis. Right? Okay. Let's deal with the negative first. Because we on trash today. I'm on trash. We'll get into all of this. But understand how you can look at this from an egotistical viewpoint. And not give Lil Bruh his props. Or you could look at it holistically of Lil Bruh and Big Sis together. Cause if it's just Big Sis, you know how big, anybody ever had big sisters or big cousins and had to be watched by them? A lot of our trauma starts there. Big cousins. That was girls. Why don't we never talk about that trauma? I know everybody laughing because you could just think about that one big cousin or that one big sister that just was hell bent on making your life hell. And so that's the one side of it. But then you can understand that time where Big Sis really looked out, where she cooked breakfast for you because mom had to go to work and, you know, picked you up from school, and, you know, Big Sis really helped you. And, you know, sometimes Big Sis did more than she was supposed to. Sometimes Big Sis had way more responsibility than Big Sis could handle, and so out of that created a shadow. So it was parts and times where she'd kick your ass, but then, you know, y'all know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about right now, don't? So if we could just look at this picture, right, and then imagine Big Sis and Lil Bruh to be in support and of unison of each other, then you can understand how the household be a little bit at peace. But then it's points in times. So let's just imagine that point in time where, you know, the house is pure hell because Lil Bruh and Big Sis is beefing, right? But imagine that point in time to be your entire adult life and not really connecting to your spirit. Y'all know exactly that point in time where it's completely unbearable, where y'all fucking hate each other. Y'all really want each other dead. Like, I really don't want you to exist, because the fact that I gotta live in this house with you every single day and you can't leave and I can't leave, I'm literally in this space with my worst enemy. And of course y'all smooth it out. It evens out, but I'm using that as specific understanding of closeness and bond and connection and reality, and abstracting it to a relationship of the self and the soul. So, telling you, full moons are illuminations, and everything that I'm speaking of, it can be referenced and researched at your own leisure. Anu Radha Nakshatra, and the deity that we want to particularly focus on and study in this concept is Mitra Rudra. And Mitra Rudra speaks to friendships and agreements. Friendship, Mitra is friendship, Rudra is agreements. Now, Mitra was a version of Krishna that was a cowherder and spent the large majority of his human life, like, so when he incarnated as a cowherder, which is probably the lowest. It's like a slave, and Rudra is the overall contract that says, even though you're a slave, even though you're a cow herder, you still are Krishna, you still are divine. And maybe you don't know this fact, and maybe nobody is going to tell you about your truth, but the reality of your truth is a particular contract. And so if you've never, when I spoke to earlier about things that can be referenced and researched and understood at your own leisure, understanding of soul contracts, the reality is that we all have soul contracts. The reason why so many of us are waking up, the reason why so many of us are having conversations on this level, and we're not just simply having the regular old mundane conversations any longer, is because this awakening and this reality is now taking place. And you can feel it on multiple levels, and you can speak to it on multiple levels. I choose to speak to it astrologically. And you already have a contract in place. And so my overall understanding of this full moon and studying it and realizing it is that new relationships are going to occur. And with the moon being involved, with Venus being involved, and then the sun, and then Uranus, I feel it really being balanced. And if one level of this energy is a birthing, the next level is nurturing. So I feel that this moon needs nurturing. So if there are negative vibrations and desires outside of the normal desire, you're not really wise or smart to suppress it, because what you are suppressing is your soul's impulse. You are negating a soul contract. Doom, doom. Peace, everybody. The card of the day, or card of the week rather, is going to be based upon the actual deacon that this astrology falls in, which ties into the overall message. It's always weird. That shit is always weird. I always do these cards last. I don't ever do these cards first and then base my... Like, this is the last thing that I look at. And my mind is always blown, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, who is that smart to have all of this in particular order, and then to present it in such a way where you have the problem, right? I can speak to the problem, and if I can speak to the problem, then I can also speak to the solution. And I love tarot for that, for presenting the problem and the solution within the visualization. So we have two cards to pull from, the Five of Discs and the Five of Cups. Both of these cards rule the first decan of their respective astrological spots, Scorpio and Taurus. So this is why I chose these cards. So lack of fulfillment, disappointment, like I said earlier, if these things exist in any space in your life, career, family, relationship, more or less, this has been a long-term thing that you've been suppressing for so long, and it's finally coming to a head where something needs to be done about it. When I spoke to soul contracts, I would really hope that you would do your own research and then understand that certain soul contracts can be changed and altered, but we have to understand that they're there. And I guess mundanely, none of this shit really makes any sense to you. But if you're able to look at yourself spiritually, if you're able to understand yourself to have a soul that's more powerful than your human self, and not to fully think that that's your ticket out of all stress, drama, and pain, but it's ultimately a solution to every problem. In every one of these cards, there is a person that has a problem, and that person is clearly focused on the problem. And then in every card, there is a solution right behind them that person just chooses not to see, chooses not to deal with. These two men, they're walking outside of a church that accept beggars, but they continue to move out into the cold. So in the article, I spoke to, the first thing that I speak to is how the internal world is going to be key to navigate the outside world. Sure, it's cliche. Sure, I've said it a lot. But how many times have you just stopped and really meditated? Let me be the first to say I don't do it as much as I need to fucking do it. But I've been doing it recently, and it's been able me to really get over these humps. So when I meditate, I'm viewing myself in its highest self, in its highest form. And I got a lot of little mini different problems going on in my life right now, honestly. A lot of different little shit that's coming to a head. It's not necessarily negative because I'm doing the work, but Lord, shit, man, I had to, pat myself on the back. I'm just saying, for myself, if I wasn't doing this study or doing this work, them little ass problems would be really driving me crazy right now. And there are certain things that I can begin to do about that. I'm going to, I've been doing steps to improve. And then there are certain things that I cannot do anything about. And there are certain things that I'm going to have to let go. There are certain things that I'm going to have to improve on. There's certain sacrifices that I'm going to have to make. But it's all in the name of getting to the place where I want to get to. Certain things you really embody, and certain things that you really give off, and certain things that you really show, and that showing and the realization that you're not getting back what you give in many different areas. This could be in a job, this could be in a relationship, this could be in every fucking thing in your life, and it could be everything. It could be your whole existence of you giving everything and getting nothing in return, and then you realizing that I cannot do this shit no more. Of course it hurts. But you rather feel that pain than feel that ignorant blissfulness that people have, serenaded themselves to sleep with for oh so long. These are long-term situations that are coming to the surface too, and really trying to heal the strain that is created by not dealing with it. Okay, deal with it. Everything's coming to a head so you can move on. Like I said, this could be family, this could be breakups, this could be jobs, this could be overwhelming expenses. Understand that anxiety will only make it better. It's like these two dudes continuously to walk into the cold when you ain't your leg broke, you on crutches, your other leg amputated, and it's a church right there that's accepting beggars. Now church is your heart. so much going on inside of you, but everybody tends to be focused on going outside of the church, the outside world. It's purely defined by how much you understand of the inside world. And a lot of people is not really to deal with this little small piece in the center. You see where shadow is, right above soul image? That little small piece, shadow and the ego, these small little pieces that go back and forth, play against each other. The sun and the moon, full moon. The persona, the soul image, they play back and forth, constantly keeping you into a psychological trigger. But the goal is to understand why the shadow is there. That's why we have this shadow group that's taking place when? Damn, I don't even know what today is. Today is Tuesday. Okay, shoosh. You know how it should be. Y'all know how it be. Y'all don't be knowing what day it is either. So today is Tuesday. And so we're having a shadow meeting Thursday. More details. So be sure to follow me on Instagram, the Hood Mystic, for more details on that. I'll have the email and everything included in the flyer. But certain things have to be expressed. Certain things have to be ended for truth to commence. It's really nothing more to say. It's really nothing more to say on that, honestly. Unless there are any more questions. Full moon takes place May 18th. So a good thing to do is to really have a dream journal. As soon as you wake up, write everything that you can remember. You'll start to have different connections based upon those dreams, and depends on how vivid your dreams are. Really begin to work with your dreams during this full moon. It's very important of understanding yourself in a full abstracted view. Also, take a look at the article as well. The article is more in depth and more in tune to the different aspects and more of what this energy is speaking to. That's why I tried to put it out a little early, give us at least 11 days to prepare for it, because as these negative feelings rise and this particular switches and changes occur, you got to know exactly why. So unless there is no questions, altercreations.net, of course, hoodmystic.com, of course. If the polls is open, yeah, definitely should vote locally, because that's where your vote actually matters, and that's where you can actually have some change, and it really makes sense because you live there all day. So definitely pay attention to that. Thank you, Kim. Y'all been quiet today. Have what I said made sense, or have what I said been kind of confusing? I think we're Leos, me being a Vedic Leo, the arrogance and the posterity that we feel of doing things on our own and not knowing how to really communicate or cooperate with other people easy to really get through this full moon and really get through it with flying colors is where you feel that tenseness and when you feel that fear, especially for the Leos, is like really pushing through that or engaging. Like, you know, if it's like a fear of not saying hi to a person, really go outside of yourself to say hi, introduce yourself, you know, and, you know, see where that can go. If you are a Leo, really be a Leo, embody that energy, embody that force, or else it could be really dark and very isolated for a Leo, where it's like, you know, very lonely, or it could be very empowering and very freeing when you learn how to cooperate and learn how to work with people. Okay. But I think that ultimately applies to everybody, though. Learning how to cooperate, learning how to break down those barriers that exist between people. That's really the major key, even in reading the article and then looking at some major points and then coming back around to it and then kind of finishing it out like, yeah, well, that makes sense. Learning how to really cooperate. And so why would relationships have to end? Why would businesses or jobs have to end? Because that person is not cooperating with you. That person is not trying to do the things that you're trying to do in life. At a certain point, they're blocking you. So I guess that illumination to what's blocking you, and then realizing that you need to be in a space where you're not blocked. So what generally happens is you find out something and you're hurt, and it's like, why did this happen to me? Well, the reason why this happened to you is so you could be with somebody else or do this somewhere else, and it'll be much more beneficial because you've literally been hating it, or this situation needs to happen and you weren't doing anything to make it happen. So what Uranus tends to do is make things happen. It kicks things into gear. And so Uranus is at play. So just understanding that, you can kind of expect for particular things to happen. And what's happening is that getting out of your shell is going to lead you down that path. Because it's in the 7th house, and the 7th house is the house of partnership. So, you know, explosions and freedom in the realms of partnerships. So, peace. So, I gotta thank you for bringing that up, Kim. That's another part of the game. If you are dead set and focused on living a particular life personally, like you trying to have some money and you trying to buy a house and you trying to do all of these physical things, and that could be pleasure, relationships, sexual fantasies, and things of that. That's not even on the level of this conversation, because as I'm doing the research on the alchemy, the reason why a lot of people don't get alchemy, the reason why a lot of people don't get spirituality as a whole, is because they still got shit to do in the material world. That's why you tend to get people who have way more money, and they could be like, okay, I'll spend $3,500 on a retreat and listen to Deepak Chopra, or I'll go take ayahuasca and spend $8,000 on a trip to Peru, because I've already done the mom and dad, wife and kid shit. I've already got my stocks. I already got my IRA. I got my 401k. You know, I got my B2K. And they don't have anything else to accomplish in that realm. Once you accomplish financial security, you realize that that's not everything. So you search for something more. And that's where spirituality gets into play. That's why before the internet, nobody gave a damn about spirituality, because we was too busy trying to either keep up with the Joneses or keep the lights on. Now that we got all of this information, we think that it applies, or that it will help us, or it somehow relates to our fantasies or our Section 8 dreams. When, if you really get into it, it don't never really have shit to do with it. And that's why a lot of things don't really make sense, because we're trying to bring it into this world and it don't really apply to this world. And that's how they get you too, because they can really keep you going and keep you stringing along. Because funny shit, I seen this like new moon in Taurus video where it's just like time to manifest some shit, and I was like, I can see why people would click on that video, because they naturally want to manifest some shit. But is she talking about astrology? Is she talking about astronomy? Is she speaking about truth? Or is you watching that video because you trying to manifest some shit? Everybody wants to manifest some shit. Everybody wants to have a twin flame. Everybody wants to have prosperity. And if spirituality was the way to get it, man, we would have a motherfucking, 28 motherfucking Benzes outside and a fucking, a mansion. If spirituality was something that was gonna get you rich. But I honestly don't do it for that. So, shadow is once you realize that you're not all of the shit that you accomplish. And if you're still trying to accomplish it, shadow work don't make sense to you, and you don't understand the reason of it, because you think that once you get to something, it's gonna really be satisfying to you. You think that when you get it, it's gonna be different. I had this analogy generally when I be driving, I be thinking, and I was like, what if the first thing that anybody ever got was bullshit, and his kids didn't know that it was bullshit, and he told them that it was gold. And so throughout the father's life, he accumulated more bullshit, and then the father generally died, and then the kids was like, he passed on his bullshit to his kids, and then, the whole world was created on bullshit, and that's literally what we inherit, bullshit. And when we come into true self, and we come into gnosis, we come into light, we come into illumination, you gotta see the shit for shit, or else you're not gonna get it. You gotta see the lead for lead, or you're not gonna get it. You're gonna really be thinking that the more lead that you accumulate, you're gonna really accomplish something. And the alchemical process is to burn all that shit. And if you're not ready for that, keep working towards what you need to work towards. It's a dope video, New Moon in Taurus, called Manifest Some Shit. And you'll be right in alignment with, what you need for the moment. This video is for the souls that are really seeking enlightenment and truth. And that's what this full moon speaks to. But you gotta take moments to yourself to abstract yourself and not look at yourself as yourself. One more time. Little bruh, big sis. If little bruh and big sis work together, everything work. It's peace and harmony. Y'all know little bruh and big sis don't really get along. This is the relationship between the human self and the soul. So, full moon in Scorpio, man. Wait for it. Peace.